Hey everyone, it's Mary with Happy Pine Soap. Welcome back to my channel. Today is the perfect video for brand new beginners to cold process soap. We're going to be making a very simple soap recipe today with only 3 ingredients that are very easy to get and not expensive. We're also going to be going over step by step how to safely use lye. I'll be also teaching you how to mix micas and oil, and I'll be teaching you how to use charcoal as well. And just a special note, if you don't have the micas or say the charcoal that I use today, don't worry about it. You can absolutely keep this incredibly simple and eliminate the colors altogether. So don't worry about that if you don't have them. I just like to demonstrate and teach additional things in my videos that you will find useful later on when you have a few more batches under your belt. And we'll also be talking about a fragrance, a specific one that I use for this recipe does accelerate a bit. So you're going to learn about trace. Thin trace versus medium versus thick trace, and how to prevent rapid acceleration. So newbies will really appreciate this very detailed step-by-step tutorial for soaping. I know I would have appreciated a video like this when I was brand new. So I really hope you find this helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. That helps my channel grow. And without further ado, let's get started. This recipe is a classic one for beginners because it only has 3 simple ingredients. You have coconut oil, the 76-degree one that melts basically at when the room temperature is 76 degrees or above, palm oil, and olive oil. So I get the palm oil from Brambleberry. It's sustainable palm oil. And then olive oil I get from Costco. And then the coconut oil I also get from Costco. And you're going to basically have your oils adding up to 100%. So our percentages here, in case you want to resize the recipe, are 25% for coconut oil, 40% for our palm oil, and 35% for olive. And then as you see, it breaks it down into the ounces and grams. And by the way, I'll put a photocopy of this at the end of the video. So feel free to look for that if you would like to screenshot it. Our total weight here of soap is going to be 45 ounces, a little bit over. And what we're looking here also is, let's see, our lye concentration is 40%. So this is a water discount, by the way. This is my favorite percentage that I like to soap at. It makes the soap harder a lot faster and go through saponification faster. And so that lye to water ratio was 1.5 to 1. And I upped our super fat. A standard super fat is 5%. I upped it to 7% because the cleansing number is a little bit high. It's 17, and that's due to the coconut oil. Your cleansing number, by the way, doesn't refer to how well the soap cleans. It refers to how stripping the soap is on your skin in terms of like stripping moisture from the skin. So cleansing actually means stripping. So increasing your super fat actually helps that out by essentially leaving 7% of your oils unsaponified. So they will just be free floating oils left over so that it's extra nourishing on the skin, basically. So that's what superfat means. Another way to think about superfat, and I have to use my hands to demonstrate. So you have a molecule of oil and you have a molecule of the lye solution. And essentially what's happening during saponification is they link up, and essentially one molecule links up with the other to make essentially soap. So some sort of chemical reaction happens to essentially leave glycerin and a salt, I believe. And so that's what actually makes your soap. You have these chains now, a new chemical reaction. So superfatting, essentially you have more oil molecules than you have lye molecules. So they will be free floating and not linked up with your lye solution. So sorry about the plane, it's very loud. So that's essentially what a superfat is. You have free floating oils that don't link up with the lye because you have purposely put more oils in than lye so that your soap is mild and nourishing and doesn't strip too much moisture from the skin. Our mold today is going to be a Crafter's Choice mold, mold 1501. You can actually look this up and it's available in a number of places. It holds, I believe, 44 ounces of soap batter. So this is the mold we'll be using today. All right, our colorants today are going to be activated charcoal. I basically just added activated charcoal with enough lightweight oil to form a smooth liquid that's easily pourable. This helps to prevent clumps as well. And then we have 2 different neons. Neons are great for resisting discoloration because our fragrance today, Mango Coconut Milk, has, look at that, vanillin 7%. So it's the vanillin that causes the fragrance to discolor to dark brown. And neons are great for resisting that brown discoloration, and you can actually see them in the finished product. They stay true. So we're going with Grape Ape from Mad Micas and Tangerine Wow from Brambleberry. And I will show you how I mix these to a nice, beautiful, even, smooth consistency without any clumps in the next clip. I usually like to have all my colors done in advance. So today we're going to do just that. We're going to use a 1/2 teaspoon of our micas. Let's go ahead and measure it out. And then we'll do the purple. Our lightweight oil will be sweet almond, and we'll add that 1/2 tablespoon into each color. Then we'll use our mini mixer to mix these really well. This is how I prepare all my micas. It makes them to be, they're basically nice and smooth, easily added to the soaps, ready to go. Some recipes move fast, so you want to have your colorants ready to go. And I just like having everything organized before I even get the oils out, basically, and start soaping. All right, this one looks really good, nice and smooth. Let's do the other. I like to kind of mix the mica and the oil just by hand first before I actually turn on my little blender, because sometimes mica can have a cloud of mica dust that it puts in the air, and I'm trying to avoid that because you don't want to breathe that in. All right, but once it's nice and wet from the oils, it's perfectly safe to turn the blender on and make it nice and smooth. Let's see, I like to kind of scrape up the sides a little bit. There we go. No clumps, I don't want any clumps. All right, so that one looks really good too. I'll show you. Here you go. Nice and liquidy. One thing I do like to do that is completely optional for you guys, since you're brand new newbies, you might not have kaolin clay, but if you do, feel free to add it. I like to mix my fragrances with kaolin clay. Not only does it cause the fragrance to stick a bit better in the soap, but it just adds this wonderful slip and lather to the soap that I prefer. So yeah, I just mixed it with the mini blender with my fragrance, and then I set it aside, and we'll add it at the very last step to avoid acceleration, since this guy does cause acceleration. So we're going to try to prevent misbehavior by adding it at the completely last step right before we pour the soap. I almost forgot, I added 3 tablespoons kaolin clay to this 2 ounces of fragrance oil, by the way. Let's get started on making our lye solution. You want to zero out your scale. So when you put your container that is not glass, don't use glass. I only use plastic now after I discovered that glass can shatter from the high heat and the lye corroding it over time. So make sure your scale is zeroed out, and then we're going to measure our distilled water here. Notice it's distilled. You don't want to use water perhaps from the tap. Some people do and have no problems with it, but sometimes tap water has minerals and whatnot that can add a potential for like DOS or like dreaded orange spots or other types of problems. But some soapers use straight tap water and say they have no problems with it, but I personally use distilled water. We'll be measuring out 6.9 ounces of distilled water. Oop, close. Very close. Close. You know what? Good enough. Good enough. As we get ready to handle our lye, you want to make sure you have eye protection. You also want to make sure you have gloves. I use the soaping sleeves as well, which are just gardening sleeves that I got from Amazon to protect my skin, because absolutely droplets will sometimes splash up and it will burn your skin. I've had it happen. So go ahead and put your eye protection on before you start handling any sort of lye. I went ahead and did that. All right, the lye I'm using is from Crafter's Choice. It's sodium hydroxide flakes. And we're gonna use 4.6 ounces of it. So carefully measured out. I like to kind of cover like this so I don't smell or inhale any lye fumes or dust. Actually, it's dust at this point that sometimes comes up. I don't want to inhale that, so I kind of protect it from coming up in the air quite easily. But you could also use a mask as well if you were really concerned. I also have, the room is well ventilated. I have all my windows open. All right, pretty good there. Yeah, I'd rather go under slightly because sometimes it's hard to get it exactly on the nose. Now what you want to do is slowly add your lye to your distilled water. I like to kind of pour it in on the side here. There we go. And then I usually like to stand a bit away so my face is not over it. So I'm about a couple feet away with my body off to the right, because you do not want to inhale these fumes whatsoever. This is when the gas is outputting at a much higher rate than it will be in a few minutes. And just keep stirring gently until it's completely dissolved. Here are our 3 oils that will be the star of the show. We have our coconut oil from Costco. We have our sustainably sourced palm oil from Brambleberry. And we have our wonderful olive oil, also from Costco. And again, you want to make sure your scale is always zeroed out before you start measuring ingredients. You can hopefully see it there, it's zeroed out. I like to separate the hard oils. So these are hard oils if they're hard at room temperature. And then the soft oils are those that are liquid at room temperature. I like to first do hard oils, melt them, and then add our soft oils. So that's what we'll be doing right now. Our first oil is coconut at 8.25 ounces. So let's go ahead and get that into our bowl. And again, as you see, I'm not using glass, I'm using plastic with the recycling number at the bottom of 5. That is the type of plastic that can withstand the high heat of soaping. All right, the next will be 13.2 ounces of our palm oil. I went ahead and melted this slightly in the microwave, and then I shook it really good so that it's nice and combined. Now what you're going to do is go melt this in the microwave in like 30-second bursts until you see it fully melted. This is after 60 seconds of microwaving. Let's see how they're doing. I still think they might need a bit more time. I like to start measuring the temperature now with my infrared thermometer. Yep, 107 is not enough to fully melt the palm oil. So we're gonna pop it in until it's about 140 degrees, and then it'll be ready to add the olive oil. Another 45 seconds, and let's see the temp. Oh, good. Yeah, that's pretty close to 140. And as you see at that 140 degree mark, the oil is nice and clear. You don't see any type of cloudiness anymore, and that's exactly what you're looking for. Now that our hard oils are melted, we will add our olive oil, 11.55 ounces. Once I have the olive oil in, I like to gently stir to incorporate all the oils together. And let's check the temperature. As you see, adding the olive oil at the last step allows the temperature to naturally rapidly decrease. So it's about 112 degrees Fahrenheit now. And what I will do is put these aside and let them rest till the temperature is around 85 degrees. I want to soap low in terms of temperatures to prevent the acceleration that our fragrance, our misbehaving fragrance will do. So you want to soap at low temperatures if you have either a recipe or a fragrance that's known to accelerate. As far as our design, I'm going to attempt a one pot wonder. And essentially one pot wonder is when you put multiple colors of soap split into separate batches. So I have my pour containers here. And essentially what I'm going to try to do, if our soap behaves itself, we'll be able to pull this off. You pour 3 separate colors, and then you pour the 3 separate colors into here, and you're using this to essentially pour into your soap mold. However, if I see it thickening too quick or misbehaving, I think we're just gonna have to plop it in the mold as fast as we can. So cross your fingers, we'll be able to pull this design off with this recipe. I've waited a bit of time here for everything to drop down. It looks like our oils are about 89. The lye I put in the fridge and it's about 88. So let's go ahead and give it a try. That's close enough to 85. I've been waiting quite a bit of time at this point, so I want to get a move on. The first step to making a soap here is adding your lye carefully into your oils. I like to pour over the spatula to avoid splashing and to lessen the amount of air bubbles that go in. Just carefully pour it all in, and then I'll scrape the container out as well. Go ahead and carefully stir gently by hand. I like to just do this to incorporate the lye gently into the oils at first. All right, burp your stick blender. You see some air escapes. And then we're just gonna do short, quick pulses. All right, that was about 3 seconds. You don't need to do very much. The stick blender can quickly overblend where your soap, it becomes very, very thick quickly. And you don't want to do that. All right, that's about another 2 seconds. And what I'm looking for is a lack of separation on the bell of the blender. I'll show you that in a second. Okay, I think actually this is good enough. I already feel it thickening. You can actually see how the soap looks uniform on the bell of the blender. It doesn't appear to be separating. And let's go ahead and get this into our pour containers before we add our colorants and our fragrances. We're going to shoot for about 15 ounces of soap batter in each of our pour containers for our colors. And I'm just continuously stirring over here so it doesn't separate on me. It looks like it's behaving. It thickened up kind of quickly and it tricked me a little bit. I was like, oh dear, this recipe might move fast, but actually I think it's holding stable now, so that's good. All right, the first one is at 15 ounces. Well, let me go ahead and pour the others. Now that you have your 15 ounces in your separate pour containers, let's go ahead and add our colors. I'm pleased to report that it is holding steady with its trace, but I'm not putting that fragrance in. Oh my gosh, we would have soap on a stick here and we don't want that. So this is where we add our colors. You just carefully scoop them in and then stir by hand. So I'm doing the orange first. There you go. And just kind of stir it until it looks uniform in color and I don't see any difference between the white soap batter and the orange. Yeah, that looks good. Scrape the sides a little. All right, and you can see it's a nice thin trace still. You do not want to overblend this recipe. The palm oil moves fast. Coconut oil moves faster. It's a nice thin trace still. You see that? This is where there's barely any trailings on the surface. This is the perfect consistency for a more complicated pour. But that fragrance may change everything. You will see when we add the fragrance. Here is our beautiful purple. also holding a nice thin trace. Perfect. Now for the activated charcoal, I just add enough to make a nice rich dark black color. Let's start with this amount first. We can always add more. That's what's great about having it pre-mixed like this. You can kind of just mix to whatever color you like, whether it's a light gray or a dark black. There we go. Yeah, a little bit more. Ooh, that's looking good. Perfect. Here's our charcoal, also holding, had a very beautiful, nice thin trace. So this recipe is good. The trace is holding. It's not actually thickening rapidly. I was worried it would do that with the high amount of palm oil, but no, it's behaving itself. So this is gonna be the real kicker here. What is this going to do? Moment of truth. I'm just going to measure this out bit by bit into each one, and I'm going to hand stir only. Oh boy, guys. Please behave yourself. Fragrance, please. Please behave yourself. Ooh, we're getting to the end of it. And probably, there we go. I'll just scrape that out, and then we'll get to hand stirring and crossing our fingers. Here we go. Please, fragrance, behave yourself. Oh God. Oh dear, it is accelerating. Oh dear. Let's get this stirred here pretty quickly. And this is why you always want to add your colorants first with a fragrance that accelerates, because sometimes they accelerate so rapidly you cannot actually stir the color in. So that's why we did it in the order we did it. Ooh, you know what? I don't think I'm going to be able to do the big container. I think I'm just going to pour them straight from these. Just kind of a drop swirl is what we're going to do. I don't trust it to not thicken up further. At this point, I don't trust. Oh, dear Lord, I splished them out. See, that's why you want those our soap sleeves on. It does splish sometimes. Wait, or is it? Maybe it's behaving itself. Ooh, see? Let's see here. Ooh, you know what? It actually is behaving itself. It seems to thicken rapidly. Ooh, this one's much thicker. So this is medium trace, guys. Ooh, the purple. Sometimes micas, specific micas, actually cause an acceleration in trace as well. This is called medium trace here. You see how you really can see those lines? And it's almost like pudding texture. It's getting to pudding texture. So, nah, the neons are going to pudding texture. The charcoal is behaving itself. So this tells me the micas are going to be causing some acceleration too, because that one is still a nice thin trace. These are thicker, so forget it. We'll just do the drop swirl. Actually, I'm going to attempt a hanger swirl. So this is just a simple hanger swirl tool from Brambleberry. I'm gonna attempt this guy. Let's get our colors in, and then we'll scrape. Ooh, these are thickening. Let's just get them in. Let's do a little kiss pour here. Ooh, there we go. Something kind of interesting. Oh, there goes my washing machine entering the party. Come on, get in there. Oh, it's thickening. We're now at thick trace, by the way, and it's only been a few seconds. Let's just get it in. All right, I will scrape those out. Let's get the black in. Woo, 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 woo. Sorry, sound effects. It's the neurodivergence. We love making sound effects. Oh, all right, let's get our swirl going. Let's do it. Let's do it. Oh, first, you know what? Let me shake it down. No air bubbles. Okay, let's do a nice like figure 8 swirl, okay? Basically make a figure 8 in your soap. Figure 8, here we go. You can kind of pull it up. Ooh, pretty. Go down. go around town, whatever you want. You just swirl to your heart's content. Just do whatever you'd like. It's fine. Let me try to get some of that black on the corner swirled in. And then I'll do a little up and down. There we go. There we go. And I think what I'm going to do, I'll come back to this in just a moment. I'm going to get some separate little molds for what's rest in our the rest in our containers. Get that out real quick, and then I'll show you a really pretty swirl on the top. Here's a good example of thick, very thick trace. It like essentially it's very much like pudding. Pancake batter maybe? Really thick pancake batter. Yeah, you can't really do designs that are fancy when it's like this. So I'm just sticking it into some separate molds, the rest that was left over. Scraping it all out, don't like to waste soap. What I'm doing now is I'm adding a little bit of copper mica that's been pre-mixed with just a lightweight oil. I always have some on the side. And we're gonna just make a soap top that looks really pretty with this copper, if it's still will let me. I don't know if it'll let me. It might be too thick, but we'll do our best. All right, let's get some over here in the corner. All right, so let's try this out. Ooh, it's pretty thick. But you just basically do little figure eights. Yeah, this might not work. I might have to go to just essentially swirling the top with a spatula or texturing it. It's right now this is like the perfect texture for a textured soap top. So I think I'm going to switch to that after I get all the color kind of blended in. All right. Textured soap top. So basically just scoop like this. Just gently texture the top. As you see, that copper is still very pretty. Kind of like it. Gives it some extra glamour at the top. And we're mixing of colors a little bit at the top too. All right, do I like that? Yeah, it doesn't have to be super fancy. I think so. There. I'm gonna go ahead and oven process this now, and we'll come back in a few hours and check it out. For those that don't know, oven process essentially is putting your soap in a warm oven. So in my case, the lowest temperature of my oven is 170 degrees. You go ahead and turn your oven on, preheat it, pop the soap in, turn your oven off, make sure to turn it off basically, and then you'll turn the oven light on to retain the heat and then leave it in there for about 3 to 4 hours. And then you can take it out and you'll notice that it's a lot harder, a lot quicker when you oven process it. And it also helps the saponification process speed up. And sometimes it changes the colors and deepens them as well. It's been about 4 hours. Our soap is all done oven processing. And in fact, I think it might be ready to unmold. It feels pretty darn hard already. So let me go ahead and get this out of the mold. We'll carefully tip it upside down. You can see the airlock is releasing. Yep, here it comes. Perfect. So pretty easy. There you go. And yes, it's completely hard and ready to cut now. So let's get our wire cutter. I have our wire cutter set to 1-inch bars. Let's go ahead and give the first one a cut and see what we have. All right, here we go. Very cool. All right, go ahead and wipe your wire cutter down with a paper towel so it's nice and clean for each cut. And let's see what the rest of these look like. Ooh, very pretty. Very pretty. Good save with our swirl there, or hanger swirl. Ooh, very cool. I like that one. The black looks really good here. Clean off the wire cutter. Very, very pretty. It smells amazing too. The fragrance is a very nice fragrance. Very sweet and fresh smelling. Ooh, that one is very pretty too. I'm loving the black. Ooh, this one has a bit more purple in it. Very cool. And we have just one more cut. All right, so let's see how these look. Oh, these just didn't get swirled very much. The orange and the purple at the edges did not get swirled as much. Our last step is simply to bevel the bars. They're hard enough to do so at this point. This is basically just a simple vegetable peeler, and you just gently run it along the edges of the soap, and as you see, it makes them nice and smooth to the touch. It's much more comfortable when you're using it in the shower or when you wash your hands, and it also makes for a nice, cleaner looking soap as well. And as promised, here is our recipe. I included a screenshot for you to go ahead and take a copy of if you'd like to. So there you guys have it. We have basically from liquid soap batter to hard soap that is ready to cut and bevel in about 4 hours. So this recipe is really amazing, perfect for beginners with its simplicity, as well as how easily it sets up. I really enjoyed this, and I hope you did too. If you liked this video, feel free to drop me a comment or press like and subscribe if you haven't already. I have plenty of beginner videos on how to achieve the perfect trace and using soap calc, as well as other simple recipes. Feel free to check them out, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next soapy tutorial. Take care, everyone.